Have you ever wondered why rich countries expand their influence over weaker ones? Lenin argued that imperialism isn't just about conquest, it's a natural outcome of capitalism. When capitalism reaches its limits at home, competition creates monopolies, big corporations dominate entire industries. When domestic markets become saturated and resources are fully exploited, they pressure governments to secure new markets and resources abroad. He argued that as long as capitalism exists, powerful nations will seek to dominate weaker ones to maintain economic growth.
Vladimir Lenin suggests that corporations invest in poorer foreign nations to exploit their workers and resources for greater profit. These corporations have grown too large at home, so they need to export their capital abroad in order to keep growing. If this were true, we would expect to see most foreign investments going to poor countries rather than to rich ones. Thomas Sowell writes that during the time when Lenin published his book on imperialism, the majority of foreign investment was in other rich nations, not poorer nations. When Lenin was claiming that Western corporations had grown too large and used up all their resources, the United States was the largest single recipient of British, German, and Dutch capital, and the United States invested more in Canada than in all of Africa and Asia put together. This was true for most of the 20th century until many Asian nations began to rise in power later that century. Rich nations invest more in other rich nations because they are more productive. Peter Bauer points out that the poorest nations of the world today are those that have the least amount of commercial contact with developed nations. He facetiously remarks that if foreign investment in poorer countries is exploitation, then the poverty of these countries shows that they have experienced too little rather than too much exploitation.